For the flexibility segment of this session, we're going to work with two stretches. One is the couch stretch and the other is the figure four. The couch stretch is good for opening up the hip flexor and the quad, and the figure four is great for opening and strengthening the head. So I use a wall for this normally, but for today's purposes, for presentation purposes, so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to use this short wall here so that I can turn sideways to the camera. You don't need much space for this, so you can find a wall, any surface, anywhere where you can have yourself up against the wall. That would be perfect. So the first one, couch stretch, I'm going to start on my knees. From here, I'm going to have this handy in case I need it for balance. I'm not using it anymore, but some of you may find it handy because you may have trouble staying upright in this position. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up so that the ball of the foot is up against the wall. I want to make sure that the heel is in line with the hip, so I'm not set away that the heel will be outside the hip, but my hip is shifted sideways enough that the heel is in line. And I'm going to use the PVC in front of me to help stabilize me to get into position. Now for some of you, the starting position will be with the other knee on the ground, in line with the hips. So this will be the starting position. From here, focus should be on two things. One, that posterior pelvic tilt we talked about with the lunge lockout. You'll notice that as soon as you do that, you feel an increased stretch in the quad itself, and you may even feel it come up into the hip flexor, depending on where you're the tightest. I'll have the PVC on the side for balance, and from there, once I've got this position, I'm going to breathe and relax. At this point, I'm not trying to create any tension in the body, I'm actually trying to let tension go. So as I breathe and relax, and make sure that I am taking good deep breaths, I'm going to try and calm my mind and calm my body. The more tension you have up here in your mind, the more tension you're going to have in your body. So you want to try and just breathe and relax. Go to some other happy place that you might have, and once you feel that this tension starts to ease up, you can start to increase the stretch a little bit by bringing your hips slightly forward. So I can slide this knee out a bit further and then tuck the hip underneath and repeat. Just breathing and relaxing. For those of you who are a little bit more mobile, you can come up and bring this foot out in front as you would for a lunge. So now I'm in a half kneeling lunge position. Same deal. Hips tucked under, body is nice and upright, square to the wall ahead of me, and I'm just breathing and relaxing as before. I can go through a series of 2 to 3 sets where I spend, say, 30 to 60 seconds where I'm breathing, relaxing, until I feel a change in this quad. It's important not to cut this short. You want to feel that you've relaxed some, that this tension has eased off before you increase the range. And once I've done this 2 or 3 times and I feel like I've gone as far as I'm comfortable with for this segment, then I will start the strengthening portion of this flexibility work. Now, as opposed to static stretching, where you get some temporary relief, flexibility work is strengthening. It's not just stretching, it's strengthening. And by strengthening, you get to maintain that range of motion far better than through static stretching. Static stretching, not strengthening at the same time, feels good at the moment, but you lose it very quickly the next day. You're pretty much back to square one. If, as you open up those ranges of motion, you can strengthen them, your body will adapt and it will allow you more and more range of motion when you're not warmed up, which means that you have a lesser risk of injury, something happening to you when your body is cold. You can get into position a lot more easily because you have strength in that range. So from here, the strengthening portion, once you've done the 3 sets of breathing and relaxing, gone far enough, we're going to create that isometric contraction by contracting the whole body and trying to pull the floor forward with our knee. So first thing, ball of the foot's against the wall, I'm going to push against the wall. I won't push against the box because I'll push it away, but you can by pushing against the wall. I'm going to contract my whole body, squeeze whatever I'm balancing on, and if I'm not balancing on anything, I will squeeze my whole upper body, fists, The whole lower body is engaged as well, and I'm going to push into the wall with the ball of the foot and try to pull the knee forward, like I'm trying to drag the floor towards the wall out in front of me. I'm going to create that hold, contracting everything, and while I'm doing this isometric contraction, I also want to maintain breathing. Right now, I'm contracting everything. I'm pulling for as hard as I can, but I'm still breathing, and that's important. And once I've done this for 10, 20, 30 seconds, depending on where you are at, I'm going to let all the tension go. And when I do, I immediately want to try and bring my hips further forward. Further forward means I don't want to compensate by arching my back or leaning forward. Further forward means I shift everything as is forward. And once I do that, I will pause, relax, and breathe as I did in the more relaxed part earlier. And once that part is eased up, I can continue with a second and even a third isometric holding period. One side, set yourself down, do the other side. When I sit up here, the other thing I want to make sure of is I want to make sure this heel is in line with this hip so that I'm not shifted off to the side and the heel winds up outside my hip somewhere, but is in line here. Set up, tuck under, nice and tall. A few sets of just lazy, relaxed, almost meditative breathing, allowing things to just ease up on their own. And once I've gone as far as I feel is good for that session, 2-3 rounds of this breathing and relaxing deeper into the stretch, then we want to strengthen this end range that we've created, this range of motion, with the isometric holds. So again, driving the ball foot into the wall, contracting the whole body, pulling forward with that knee towards the wall out in front of me, 10, 20, 30 seconds of heavy isometric contraction while still breathing, and when I relax, letting the tension go, trying to bring this forward and pausing and relaxing. At this point, when I'm relaxing and I want to take the tension off, you can lean on that front knee. I can just lean on it, trying not to lean forward like so, but I can hold myself up a little bit so I let the tension go in the lower body. Also using my Balance PVC, that will also help me relax my lower body. Breathing and relaxing, and then once I've relaxed, I can go into a slightly deeper range and do the isometric contraction all over again. 2 to 3 sets of the isometric holds, come out of it, and then you'll find that you're quite stiff in the hips, and you'll probably just want to move around a little bit and loosen them up. Maybe some lazy hip rotations or hip swivels, that'll take some of the tension off. For the second, the figure 4, for the hip, we'll use the wall again. I'll start with the harder version of the figure 4, which will allow me to sit up with my back against the wall. So for today, I'm using this box, which isn't ideal, but you'll get the idea. You use a wall for this. I'll start with both legs straight out in front, and I will make sure my head, my hips, and my back are up against the wall, and I'm going to cross one leg over the other. This ankle is over above the knee and just over to this side of the knee, and the outside of the knee, and above. This knee, I'm trying to make sure it doesn't just sit up towards the ceiling, but I'm opening up externally as much as I can. Once I'm here, I can start to create that opening by pulling this knee up towards my chest, making sure the knee doesn't compensate by coming up. My wall is moving, hopefully yours doesn't. So you're bringing it up to a comfortable level, in this position, sitting up nice and tall, and just like with the couch stretch, I'm going to go through a set of 2 or 3 series of just taking some nice deep breaths and relaxing my mind and allowing the tension go. And when I feel it's eased up a little bit, might be able to bring this up slightly more. It may not be much, but even if it's just a little bit, it's progress. Once I've done this 2 or 3 times and I feel I've gone as far as I can, that's when I'll start the strengthening portion. For the figure 4, the strengthening will involve contracting the whole body. Now what I'll do is I'll actually place my forearm across this knee, the bent knee that you're strengthening, on the hip side that you're strengthening. From there, I'm going to push into my forearm with this knee. I don't want to push the knee down. I actually want to try and push the arm up towards me. So I'm going to press into my forearm, I'm going to contract my whole body, and I'm going to do the 10, 20, 30 second contraction. And once I've relaxed, when I go to relax, I'm going to try and bring it up a little higher, and then I'll go through this, just holding it in place, breathing, relaxing, seeing if that tension disappears. If it does, then you can go through another set of isometric holds, go through the same thing once you've made range of motion. So I'll contract at this point, relax, bring it up a little bit higher, still coming up higher, great. Spend some time in the more relaxing portion, just breathing, trying to let the tension go. Then do another one where you put the tension on again, and so on. 2 to 3 sets of the isometric holds will strengthen the range of motion as you go along. So those are the 2 flexibility exercises for this video. Please feel free to share these videos with anyone you feel may benefit from them. There'll be 2 more videos coming up down the road that will also focus on hip mobility, which will be set up in the same way with prep work, strength work, and flexibility work. So you'll have 3 different videos to choose from, and they'll all have different movements involved. Once we've covered those, I'll hopefully start a series for those who are at a more intermediate and advanced level, using things like combination work and dynamic work. So please follow along, subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when new videos come up, and share these videos with anyone you like.